Does an Epstein list actually exist? People want answers. We're demanding accountability. We're demanding transparency, but it sounds like we might not ever get the information that we're looking for. And it sounds like it also may never have existed in the first place. Trump's been calling the Epstein saga a Democrat hoax, and others are insisting that there's nothing left to see here. Is the Epstein list real, or are we just chasing shadows? I have to show you this explosive conversation you don't want to miss. This is Andy with TrendingPolitics.com. Hit like, subscribe, and let's get into this.
To stop people from talking about these Epstein files, Trump blaming it on his political enemies, claiming that it's boring, there's nothing to see here, and then Pam Bondi just trying to dodge it. None of that would make all of this go away.
Right. I mean, look, they're not helping themselves, but let's be fair. They're being asked about it again and again and again and again. And that's understandable, right, considering all the circumstances here. But I don't think, no matter what happens here, they're ever going to get the MAGA base that wants this is ever going to get the answers they want, right? They want names and they want a client list, right? We know what the black book is already. The black book is the list of the victims. That's the black book. We know he had a black book, and it was a black book of the victims, okay? Then you want to talk about another list. It doesn't seem there is another. There's friends of Jeffrey Epstein's, there's associates, there are flight logs. The problem with that is Donald Trump is on the flight logs. It doesn't mean he did anything wrong, but the reality is if you want to say, I want to see every flight log, we know Donald Trump was flying with his kids, his infant at one point, from Teterboro, New Jersey to Florida on Jeffrey Epstein's plane. That's not helpful to Donald Trump politically. And as a result, if they're going to demand that everything connected with Epstein be released, it will include some stuff about Donald Trump.
But you don't know that because, first of all, we don't know what the victim testimony is. There are women. The part that I don't understand is Ghislaine Maxwell is sitting in prison right now for trafficking women. Young girls, excuse me, they were not women. Thank you for pointing that out. Mm-hmm. Did she just traffic them to Epstein, or did she traffic them? Wait a second. Or did she traffic them to other people? If so, who were those other people?
Let's not pretend we don't know anything about the case. She was tried. All the evidence came out. We know about the civil cases against her. We know what was redacted, what wasn't.
Well, first of all, what was redacted is what we need to know. But we don't know. We certainly don't know what some of these girls had to say about who they potentially slept with. But we don't know the answer to that.
We actually do.
And we don't actually, because we don't know if there's video of this. We don't know what Epstein had. We don't have access to any of that.
Right. This is like saying, there might be this and there
might
be that.
We don't know.
True. It's true. There might be, but there's no evidence of this.
We don't know. Bring it out.
The underlying point that Dan is making is that the secrecy is to protect Trump.
No, a little bit. I don't think it's secrecy. I think Trump's right. Trump's right. There's nothing there. Trump's right on that.
Wait a minute here, Dan. So you think that the 200 young girls who testified, in Florida, for example, in Florida, it was 200 victims or survivors. I don't like to use the word victims. You don't think that those young girls slept with men? You don't think that those men were doing incredibly bad, wrong things to them, harming them?
Here's what we know.
Not just Epstein.
Right. But what's the evidence? I mean, you're asking me.
Survivors
you're asking me. Use common sense, right?
Assault,
so there must have been multiple assailants, right? Says who?
Says the survivors.
No. That's right. The ones who have spoken out have talked about the people involved.
Hold on, Dan.
Virginia.
How do we know that there were not? I think this is the whole point, right? The whole point is people want to know if there were other people. If the files substantiate what you're saying, that there are not other people, that's what people want to know.
There are other people.
Here's what Nikki Haley weighed in on this. She says, release the Epstein files, this is Nikki Haley, and let the chips fall where they may. This is why people don't trust government. You can never go wrong with being transparent. Redact the victims' names, but release the rest. I mean, Scott, this is the right that the deep state, they don't trust the government, they don't trust the people at the FBI and whatever. And they thought that when Trump got into office, he would address that by just releasing what can be released, let the chips fall where they may, and he's not doing it.
Well, today I heard him say, anything credible, sure, let's release it. Now the question is, what can the Attorney General release and what is not releasable? It's opaque to me, what they have and then what falls into those two buckets. That's number one. Number two, it looked to me like today the president was sending a signal like, okay, fine. if there's something that's releasable and it's credible and it doesn't hurt any survivors and it doesn't implicate people on, second and third order hearsay.
That's not what the MAGA folks want. They don't want the no implication.
And who gets to decide that?
Right.
The Attorney General, right? I mean, it's on
the Attorney General who doesn't want to release any of it at all.
But that to me is part of the challenge, to be honest. And I know this doesn't follow the echo chambers of, cable news, but quite honestly, the people who believe in Pizzagate are not only driving what our government focuses on, but what legacy media focuses on.
So let's take a step back. At this point, is there really anything left to uncover? Ghislaine Maxwell was convicted. Epstein's dead. The settlements are all over, and the flight logs have been public for years. So where is the so-called client list? Where are those big smoking guns the internet swore was coming? Dan Abrams might actually be right on this one. There may never have been a real client list at all. We know about the black book that was filled with the names of the victims. That's it. There's no master spreadsheet of elites, no bombshell dossier, just rumors and recycled outrage. And sure, there were people on the flight logs, Trump included, but flying an Epstein's plane isn't a crime. Being at a party doesn't mean that you're involved in some conspiracy. And the longer this drags on, the more it looks like everyone's just connecting dots. They want to be there. Even Nikki Haley says, let the chips fall. That soundbite feels almost like political theater, but the question is, what chips? What's even left to fall? If there was something explosive, listen, if there was something explosive in those sealed files, don't you think it would have leaked by now? This is Washington, not Fort Knox. And let's not pretend that the Department of Justice is just sitting on some Pandora's box. You think that there's a tape out there that hasn't already been scrubbed 100 different ways and people wanting to release it? Honestly, this whole saga is feeling a little bit more like a ghost hunt than a real investigation. And yes, Epstein was evil. Yes, the victims deserve justice. But the story that people are still chasing, the big reveal, the top secret list that was going to take down the whole swamp, it's probably just not coming because it probably didn't exist in the first place. We were promised that answers were coming. There's no question. But the people in power that made those promises didn't have the documents by themselves. If someone still has real evidence, even Donald Trump has said, bring it forward. And he seriously means that. But the idea that there's some ultra classified vault that's going to crack open and reveal the Illuminati and flight numbers and things like that, we need to let this fantasy go. It's become political clickbait, fuel for Twitter and rants, and a way for people to rile people up without delivering anything new. And at some point, we have to be willing to say, maybe this is it. Maybe we already got the truth. And no matter how many times cable news or videos on YouTube tease new revelations, the core story hasn't changed in years. We can keep demanding that that we get answers to questions, but those answers don't exist. Or we can focus on the corruption that's happening right now. We can focus on the success of the country. Either way, the Epstein list isn't going to save the day. That ship sailed a long time ago. This is Andy with TrendingPolitics.com. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and I'll see you next time.